Welcome back to the activation phase. This is Tim, and I'm joined by my trusty co-host JP. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Go. Yes, today we are doing the Castilians, so kind of like the Iberians, the Spanish, and what JP, do we still do the whole history thing? What are these guys all about?
I have no idea. No, we're not doing the history. Yeah, cool. Must admit, history-wise, these are probably the least interesting to me. I suggest we do the Castilians because it's purely based on how I feel. I just can't get into this board.
Yeah, then let's do it. Let's get into the board. And before we do that, do you want to talk about the equipment options, JP?
Yes. All right. So surprisingly, actually, compared to all of the Iberian and Spanish options in all of the other books, there are a disturbing lack of javelins as options right now. So the Warlord and Hearthguard are just mounted on horses, no barding, nothing. The Warriors have option between no special equipment on foot and being mounted on horses without any special equipment. And then finally, levies can only take crossbows, and that's it. No other rules, no other special equipment, anything like that. So it's actually a very, very limited board in terms of what you can take. And I think it's pretty much exactly the same as the Bretons, dare I say. Actually, no, the levies take bows in the Bretons, so almost. So it's about as simple as you can get in this particular age.
Yeah, but I mean, still, they have mounts, so still a lot of hobby work to do. But you just can't choose a whole lot.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to slot them in so many different factions. The only thing is, will you have enough mounted warriors available? But let's get into maybe the board itself. Should we start off with the top row?
Yeah, start us off, JP, as always.
Okay. Here, there's absolutely no difference until you get to where the activation pool should be. That's where they have something called Elusive. Also, this gets triggered with an uncommon and an uncommon only, so you have no choice there. And it's a melee shooting reaction ability. And it's only usable on mounted non-mercenary units. So unusually for a basic ability. So at the end of the melee or shooting attack, activate your unit for a move of M that generates no fatigue. You can only trigger this ability once per activation. All right, so I was initially a little bit confused about the wording, but maybe to clarify it a little bit, you can only trigger this ability once per activation just means like you have to trigger this during a melee or shooting or as a shooting reaction, and then you can't chain them one after the other.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just me, but I was slightly confused by it because it's a basic ability, but actually pretty not too complicated once you maybe I'm making it too complicated. Who knows? Let's move on to the advanced abilities.
Yeah, so the first advanced ability is called Raining Blows. It's a melee ability that takes 2 commons. It says gain 2 attack dice, or it's 4 dice for Hearthguard or hero unit. And you can reroll 3 attack dice which don't score hits. So for the rerolls, when I do the math on these kind of abilities, I always just assume that the rerolls are just additional attack dice, because unless you roll super lucky or you have automatic hits, which is an edge case, rerolls are basically just additional attack dice, which don't care about the maximum for the threshold of 16, or I guess in this case 32. So for 2 commons on a normal unit of warriors or levies, you gain 5 attack dice, and for 2 commons on a unit of Hearthguard or heroes, you gain 7 attack dice. And I think 7 attack dice for 2 commons is okay, and 5 attack dice for 2 commons is probably not that good. So not the biggest fan.
Agreed. Also 2 dice, so it's limiting. But yeah, I think it's okay. It's not like an amazing ability. I think it needs to have something extra to be really put it into the 2 dice ability autoplay bracket. But anyway, let's see if there's something else coming up. So the next one is Spanish Steeds. This is using an uncommon. It's an activation. So activate up to 2 mounted units. If you activate a unit of warriors and a unit of hearth guards, immediately place 1 available saga dice on Elusive. Just as a reminder, Elusive is the special basic ability regarding the movement without fatigue of M. So, first of all, multi-activation, very good. I think this also pushes you towards the old, what's it called, Hearthguard plus Warrior kind of list building. So it has influence on what you're eventually going to take as well. So that's both a positive and a negative, I guess. It does mess around with you a little bit. However, I don't know, like even uncommon, without getting the buff for Elusive, if you're playing like two warrior units, like it's still good. It's still multi-activation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain about that. And then like the extra little buff, if you do like the warriors in Hearthguard, like that's just kind of like icing on the cake. So I'm a fan of this one. I think also this is, you're going to see that. Why wouldn't you play this? Elusive takes an uncommon anyway.
Yeah.
Basically getting like free 2 dice ability for 1 dice. Actually, well, it's good. All right, this one's good.
Yeah, it's really good. And
Rating Blow is bad. This one good. All right.
Yeah, and this one's it's. I think with these abilities, usually it says activate to move, and this one doesn't, and so it's really good. Such a good ability for an uncommon.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, because so you can charge and then you can use the Elusive to move one of the 2 away, because you can only do. I guess you can only do 1, right? Although no, you put the Elusive on a melee while you're doing the melee, so technically, if you have multiple Elusive or dice on Elusive, you can run both of them away if you really need to. So it's all good.
All right, next up, and definitely important for melee, is Magnificently Armored. It's a melee ability that takes any die facing, and it says gain 2 defense dice. If the enemy unit is within medium of a friendly unit of non-mercenary mounted warriors, it must discard 2 attack dice or 4 if you use a rare. And this one is good for a common. You gain 2 defense dice, and your opponent has to discard 2 attack dice, so it makes you a lot more survivable. And this, of course, if you attack with a unit of your mounted warriors, then they're always within medium of themselves. So they can always use this, and your Hearthguard, if you, for example, do it with the Spanish Steeds and charge your warriors in first, and then your Hearthguard after, they definitely can also get this. And of course, this is more valuable on Hearthguard, because defense dice are always more valuable on Hearthguard. So for a common, good. For a rare, I don't think it's perfect, because the defense dice amount doesn't change. So if that was the case, then that was probably good. Would probably be good, but so in this situation where you only get 2 more attack dice, you only get to discard 2 more attack dice from your opponent, paying basically twice the amount in saga dice, so a rare instead of a common or uncommon, I don't think is really worth it. So uncommon or common on this one, good. Rare, not good.
Okay, good. That's good. Next one, I like the name of it. It's called Maimed. This is again using a uncommon. This time it's a shooting ability. So if the enemy unit suffers at least 1 casualty, its movement and charge distances are reduced to S until the start of your next turn. So this, on the face of it, seems to be guiding you towards taking some levy with crossbows. However, spoiler alert, there are some other ways of shooting as well, which makes a little bit more sense, I think, for this board. all in all, this sounds incredibly expensive, especially because your uncommons are a very, very high demand. I think scanning the board, there's a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 4 abilities which only take uncommons on the advanced abilities, and there's also a number of other ones which are like common plus uncommon, or common or an uncommon dice. But I think this is going to be a really tough one to play unless you have a very good plan. I mean, sure, but I don't know. It's like we need to combine it with something else to make it make sense. There's so many better abilities on other boards. I don't know how you think about it. Is there some amazing combo I'm not seeing? But I don't think so.
I don't think there's an amazing combo, but one thing to keep in mind is that it's pretty good at keeping enemy horses that are unbarred in check, right? Because you can, and we'll talk about the javelin activation here in a second, but when you can shoot them and make sure that they can't actually get anywhere because they move short instead of large, so they can either be Hearthguard or warriors, then I think it starts to make sense, or maybe starts to be good, especially since I think the really good units right now are big warrior units or big Hearthguard units, and mounted, of course, is very, very good. And so if you're in a situation in the game where you can basically make sure your opponent can't do anything for a turn because the one big unit that is in range or could get in range can be shortened to short, then I think this can be okay. But the uncommon, as you said, is tough to justify, and you have to get the casualty. That's always rough.
Yeah, you have to get the casualty. I mean, if you have like a big unit, I'm sure that's okay. But I think where they're going for and what they're aiming for is the elusive. You run away M, right, instead of your your usual just short withdrawal.
Yeah.
So this puts you outside of the range of S easily. But it's so I guess I think that's where they were going for, but the dice facing that you have to do, and then the extra condition of having casualty, it's so incredibly risky, right? Because like, what if that doesn't happen and you're just stuck on M, and it's not like shooting or melee. If it would be shooting or melee, I think this would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree.
It would get a lot more play. But like, I think the intention is clear, but I think I don't see it being used too often, to be honest.
Yeah. And it has the big problem that if your opponent has any other unit that can do something, then this basically means nothing, because then they won't activate the one unit you shot, which is now smaller anyway because you had to take a casualty, and they'll just use something else that's fresh. So why would you play this? Yeah. All right, next one's called Cavalcade, and it takes a common and a rare, and it's an Orders ability. It says choose up to 2 non-mercenary mounted units. They immediately remove fatigue and gain the determination special rule until end of turn. Then place 1 available saga die on Elusive. And this one is really good because, yes, this is so just to keep the saga die value consistent. So this basically costs 3, so a common and a rare, and the rare counts as 2. And so you get 2 activations basically, and 2 fatigues, and you get to put a die on Elusive. So you get 5 saga dice worth of stuff for the value of 3 saga dice, basically. So that's pretty good. That's a +2 ability, so that's very good.
Okay, we like that. Right. Next one is called Evasion. This is using either a common or an uncommon dice. It's a shooting reaction. So your unit's armor increases by 1. In addition, if it's more than M from the shooting unit, it gains a +1 bonus to its defense dice. If your unit suffers no casualties, place 1 available saga die on Elusive. So I think this is the same. What are the tokens called in Age of Hannibal? Guerrilla. It's the same kind of vibe. add tokens to your gorilla tokens for moves. Except for I think the gorilla tokens are a little bit better. I mean, yes, for common, it's definitely good to increase your armor. Like, it kind of gets around the fact that you don't have any barding, you're not really incentivized to take a lot of units on foot, so you're going to be armor 3 on your warriors against shooting, which is painful.
Yes.
And there's definitely a lot of shooting in this age. So I think all in all, I think this will get used because there's just no way of not coming in range somehow.
I agree.
And especially you're going to be mounted, you're not going to want to put a lot of terrain on the board either to get in your way. So I think all in all, you're going to have to really, kind of bite the bullet a few times and just put this on and hope for the best, and then just kind of weather the storm. All in all, like the +1 to your armor, they're 4, and then you're basically saving on 4. So that's pretty solid, I would say. Like, I would, like, obviously you're going to roll badly sometimes, but I think this, like, as far as a shooting reaction ability, this is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think when you're more than medium from the shooting unit, which you can quite easily do with your mobility and having elusive up in your opponent's turn, so you can decide where you are at, basically. And being more than an MOA for common, this is really good, because increasing your armor by 1, getting +1 bonus to your defense die, and dice, and suffering. If you suffer no, you basically get the die back. So I think this is even worth it to combine with a combat bonus to get a defense die to make sure that happens. And the defense die is worth so much with abilities like these, because you're saving on 3s, and you're saving on 3s with your horses. That's really good, really nice.
Yeah. So I think we like this one. You're going to have to be in a position to get shots sometimes, unfortunately. So this helps you survive.
Can't avoid it.
This one.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Bravado. It's a melee ability that takes an uncommon. If there are at least 2 saga dice on Elusive, then your unit's armor is increased by 1. This is just increasing your armor on Hearthguard is insane, and for an uncommon, this is really nice, because if just in a vacuum, that means your Hearthguard get hit half as much. So from armor 5 to armor 6, it's just cutting the hits they receive in half, which is insane. And even on your warriors, you basically cut 1/3 of the hits that they get, and that's also really good. And having 2 saga dice on Elusive is not hard with this board, not at all. So I think this is good.
Yep. Okay. I think also there, again, the only downside is the uncommon. So, speaking of which, the next one is called Surprise Charge, which is triggered using an uncommon only. So it's activation. It's activate a mounted unit for a charge with a movement bonus of S. During the charge move, a friendly units count as open terrain. Right. This is always good. It's, I guess you're somewhat incentivized to take a lot of mounted units, so it's going to be a little bit of a traffic jam sometimes with this, especially with the new, it's kind of like from 2022, the movement rules for the kind of like cavalry bases or pill-shaped bases makes it a little bit more difficult to make things kind of squeeze through little gaps. So I think that solves this issue, and movement bonus of S on your charge is always good. That makes them anyone with cavalry always really wary, since you can first of all move with elusive to a good position, and then finally also you can just stay outside of other people's charge ranges.
Nice.
With that bonus. So I think all in all this is a very solid ability. It's not like you're going to have a ton of screening foot units. I think you might want to take some mercenaries, which are going to be on foot. So there you don't have like a like it doesn't affect the mercenary, so you have no issue there. So I think that's going to be a good way of kind of saving your relatively lightly armored warriors or Hearthguard from being shot up too much. So I think this one's good. Only downside again is the uncommon. But it is activation, so it's not like you have to spend a dice and then activate and then use this ability. So I think you're getting a pretty decent payback for this particular uncommon dice.
And I think the all the uncommons basically push you away from bringing any amount of levies, because you can't activate them with anything, and because you don't want to use the uncommons, and there's no activation on the board that works with them, and so I think it really makes you bring Hearthguard and Warriors, and then the uncommons aren't even as painful. You can't do all of the abilities, but you can at least activate all your Warriors and still have the uncommons left.
Yeah, I think that's right, because then, I don't see a way of outside of using We Obey or something to activate a unit of maybe to activate. Like you can't even use your Elusive or something to double shoot your crossbows, because they have to be mounted to be able to use Elusive. So you can't even do that. So maximum shooting once per turn, probably using your We Obey. Otherwise, you're seriously crippling what else you can put on the board, because you're in the end, you're not going to roll so many uncommon dice that you have, like you want to do your Evasion or your Spanish steeds or stuff like that. So I think you're right. I don't see, unfortunately, levies as being super viable for this.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay, you're up.
Next up is Castellanos, or Castellanos, maybe. It's an Aura's ability that takes a rare, and it says place one available saga die on Elusive, then take up to 2 available saga dice, roll them, and add them to your inactive saga dice. So this is the activation pool on crack, basically. It's you can only use it once, but you pay a rare, and then you get 3 dice back. You put 1 on Elusive and 2 into your inactive saga dice. So if you have the rare, I think this is really good. It's maybe the second best place for, depending on the scenario, I'm sure, or the situation, I'm sure. But the Cavalcade, which lets you give determination and remove fatigue, is also a really good place for the rare. And so is this. Just putting a die on Elusive and getting to roll your activation pool feels really nice. But of course, this gets better the longer the game goes on and the more dice you lose, because then you're trading a rare for 3 dice, basically, or 3 activations at least. You can still roll rares on these available these inactive saga dice. It's pretty good. In the beginning, you usually can't afford this, as in you don't have, even by paying 1, so having 1 die become available, you usually don't have just 3 dice that you can, or 2 more, I should say. So because this basically needs 3 dice to work perfectly. And yes, you pay 1 for the ability cost, so you need 2 more. So this if you have a warband that generates 6, and then this is perfect, it gets you all the way up to 8, nice. But if you have a warband that generates more, then this doesn't work in the beginning, but in the end it's really good. Yeah,
unless you get the two rare, and then you play Cavalcade.
First,
free up the 2 dice in the orders phase, and then play Castellanos. But stars need to align for that to happen, and it's not like it's not gonna happen when you need it to happen, mostly.
And Cavalcade also only frees up 1 die, because you place 1 on Elusive. So it's they want a lot of dice.
Yeah, so again, looking at Elusive, you have to roll so many uncommons. If you want to put like Elusive before, like on the board before playing any of the abilities, that gives you a kind of like the automatic Elusive marker or whatever. So the more I look at this board, the more I'm kind of like getting like worried about not rolling enough uncommon dice. But anyway, all right.
One thing I think you don't really you don't ever want to put, or I think it's really rare that you want to put an uncommon straight into elusive, because there's just a lot of good ways to get uncommons. Yeah, a lot of good ways to get dice onto elusive that give you more than just the elusive active ability, basically.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something you want to avoid. I'm not sure. I have trouble seeing kind of like the flow of the board to figure out if you're ever going to be stuck in that position. But anyway, let's move to the last ability. It's called Lancers with Javelins, which is a nice descriptive title. It's a ability and activation using a common or a rare. Activate a unit of mounted warriors for a shooting attack with range M that generates no fatigue, or up to 2 units if you use a rare. This is, given what we were saying about levy and how many levy you're going to be taking, this is the only shooting you're probably realistically going to get from this board, which is unfortunate because you have like the Maimed and you have stuff like that. So, yes, I think this is fun. This is probably like what people are actually expecting the Spanish to do more of, and then you're just kind of stuck with competing for rares with the Castellanos and the Cavalcade, which are both so much better. I don't know.
Yes.
Than being able to roll like 2 extra shooting attack dice, which probably won't do anything anyway. I don't know. It feels fluffy and thematic, but it's going to be so disappointing because you're not. I don't know. It just feels there's no extra payoff, right? There's no like totally sweet shooting ability which you can line up and be completely decimating them like what the Irish can do or something.
There's nothing here. No.
There's not like, so it's just disappointing. And it's not like your what's it called, the Mongols, where they can have actual javelins, and then if you charge, it counts as javelins. Which would absolutely destroy like a unit of mounted like warriors or something, especially if you combine it with Bravado or something like that. Like, I think this board is kind of missing like one of those combos.
Yeah, like, it is. It's missing a payoff, basically.
The death blow, right? Like, we were talking like, oh, if you roll 2 rares and then you play Cavalcade, Castellanos, like, yes, that's going to be a good turn for you. But you still have to charge in, do a lot of damage. You're going to lose guys because there's nothing like amazing that stops you from losing a ton of guys like what the Germans have, something like that. And then you're just going to have some slightly diminished units. Sure, you can remove the fatigue more easily than what other people can do, but it's just not super amazing. I don't know. I really want to be proven wrong, but at the moment I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think the because there's no payoff, these guys basically they're basically going into every fight just trying to win with pure numbers, because there aren't really any insane abilities to buff the fight or the shooting, and there's a lot of activation, there's a lot of moving around, and there's a lot of value plays, but there's not a lot of like combo potential or basically, as you said, death blows.
And I think the moving around and stuff like that is done much better by the Bretons, for example.
Yeah.
And the playstyle just seems more interesting. I just don't think Elusive has enough worthwhile. I think if for example the Lancers with javelins would be, like all your mounted units have javelins or something like that, then maybe it would be like an interesting twist to your playstyle. But here it just has so little effect that it doesn't really. I'm not sure how often you'll play it. I'm sure you will, but yeah.
I agree.
Are we? Is this the first board we're kind of down on for Age of Chivalry?
I mean, I lost to it before, and I played into Tristan. Of course, he plays the Iberians as always.
All Iberian peoples.
Yeah,
he's friend of the Iberians.
Yes, and he played them just very melee focused, and I think what the board can do is grind. Because the abilities generate so much value and they lose all the fatigue so easily. They basically don't ever have to spend activations to rest, and their activations in general are super cheap, and so very cheap, and some of them are fatigue free, at least the moves or the shooting, I guess. And so he basically put out 6 points of mounted combat units. I don't remember exactly what, but warriors and Hearthguard mixed. And so in the end, I lost just by being grind. He grinded me to death, I think, because he just kept charging. And yes, he kept losing stuff, but so did I. And his charges and all of this was so much cheaper. And then getting his units fresh again to charge again was so much cheaper than what I could do with I think I played the Germans. And so that felt like the Iberians or Castilians, I guess, just keep coming. They don't really need to. There's definitely no turn off where they just need to rest and then go again the next turn. They just, for quite cheap, they can send in all their units again and again and again, and keep just amassing attack dice through just sheer amount of models they're sending in. So that worked. But it felt very different to what Saga usually feels like, where you can influence the fights with Saga abilities and stuff, because he just charged 6 times or 5 times per turn with his horses, or maybe in the beginning like 3 or so, and then in the end, more. The abilities I played on a single combat didn't really matter anymore, because I might win that one, but then I'll lose the other 4 combats that are happening this turn. So that's the playstyle I didn't expect. So they played like a melee, or he played them like a melee faction and won that way. So I think they're more interesting that we can understand, because we're not the smartest people. But maybe other people can make a really nice warband out of this.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess you have your easy, like your Cavalcade to remove fatigue at the beginning of the turn. You can use Spanish steeds for removing more fatigue.
Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty efficient. So it's like a stealth fatigue board, is what you're saying, like Anglo-Danes but on horses.
Yeah, it's like
without defense. Yeah, so I guess yes, it's just strange. So maybe it's just not fitting what we're expecting it to be, and it's not fitting how boards normally get played. But I guess it's Tristan's a good one for figuring these kind of sneaky things out.
Yeah, I mean, you just charge. Honestly, you just charge 4 times in your turn and completely exhaust or wipe a unit, and you lose some people, but only some models, but only in the beginning, in the first charge or first 2 charges, and then the enemy unit is fatigued anyway, and you can make sure that you're super tough to actually kill. And that's exactly what he did. He just kept sending in, maybe it was an 8 stack of Hearthguard or something, that he just kept sending in turn after turn, because they generate so many attack dice, and with Bravado up, so the armor increases to 6, they were incredibly tough to kill, basically impossible. And so I think that feels like a weird strategy for a mobile faction, but just smashing face again and again seems to work, I think.
All right. Yeah, I guess, like what you said, each successive charge, your opponent becomes more fatigued, and it's easier to survive.
Yeah.
And so interesting. Okay. This is definitely a twist I did not see coming, but good to hear Tristan is making them work. And I think I guess you need to like play painting horses, which is something I have tried to avoid doing for this age. But
I don't think you can forever.
No, I painted my. If it's all going well, I hope to have painted my last horse for a chivalry, like this weekend. And we'll see.
The crossbow warriors, or
the mounted crossbow warriors.
I see.
And then I have like 12 mounted warriors, 8 mounted Hearthguard. So I'm hoping I can do enough with different warbands with that, but we'll see. But I think definitely for this one, yeah, you'd want to take like more than 2.5 points, 3 points of warriors mounted. Would you ever take more warriors on foot? I don't really see a reason to take them. Maybe scenario play. Yeah. Even then, you're losing elusive on them.
Yeah, and the elusive is
difficult.
super oppressive in scenario play because many scenarios are scored at the end of the turn by proximity or other rules, and so moving your guys around to take objectives at the end of a melee activation or something, even if your unit loses the melee, they can still be a menace and deny points and stuff.
Opponent's turn or whatever.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, so so foot warriors not interesting. Just mount everyone.
Yeah, I think so. So how would you talking about mounting everyone and talking about your mounted crossbows? Would you take mounted crossbows, or how would you build this army now?
I think mounted crossbows probably would make more sense, right? Because you can activate them without using uncommon, and then you can shoot them, and then they can run somewhere else, and then they can add like the +2 attack dice for each melee. So I think they can keep up with the rest of the warband. So I think it's probably not a bad choice. I think another one might be like what's it called, the pike units, because you're kind of shooting there as well. You're kind of grindy because your armor 4 can close ranks. I think those would be good options. I'm not sure you would want to do a cannon because you're probably going to be in your way because you have big blocks of
and uncommons. Guys. Uncommons are a problem.
Yeah, that's true. Uncommons going to be a problem. You're going to get in your way. Yeah, so I think crossbow guys always good, and for the extra little bit of punch, because you don't really gain that many attack dice on this particular board.
Yeah,
and then a little bit of sneaky shooting. Nothing spectacular. Pikes. I don't know. Scots are always good. I don't think anyone could not want Scots.
Yeah, they're really good. Yeah. Because there's also a ton of Hearthguard running around in this age because the boards support them, and the Scots into Hearthguard are juicy. They're insane because of their +1 to attacks and such like easy maneuverability. The Gala glasses are super good in this age, just because it shows there's so much more Hearthguard here than there's in other ages. So having them touch a unit of Hearthguard usually means you trade up so well.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're kind of narrowing down on the warband build. I'm gonna say we're gonna take 3 points minimum of mounted warriors, 1 point of mercenaries.
Yes.
Kind of choice between mounted crossbows, pikemen, or Scots, and then I guess 1.5 or 2 points of mounted Hearthguard.
Yeah, I honestly think
I'm not sure you gain a lot by having 2 points. I think 1.5 point and just more warriors, like 3.5 points of warriors, something like that.
I think the 2 points of Hearthguard are just incredibly oppressive because if you position them right, and you can position them right so easily with Elusive after charging something and then getting them back to where you need them to be, or out of range of something important. Even if they get charged once, they still hit incredibly hard, and there's no javelins. I think there's only one mercenary unit that has javelins.
The mercenary unit. Yeah.
So there's nothing that really enjoys charging a 7-stack of Hearthguard, other than, I guess, the Gallo glasses. But so I think bringing an 8-stack of Hearthguard with these guys is actually pretty good because, nothing can really touch them.
Yeah. So I think you're probably going to run into like Flemish or Swiss with the pikes are going to be tough because you're going to get they're going to get the
+1 bonus. Yeah.
I guess Scots as well with the pikes. And but once you put them like a fatigue on them,
Yes.
you'll be okay. Then they're screwed. But that first charge is going to be painful. I guess you maybe like a sacrificial unit or something. Or I guess you have to go in with like Bravado or something like that. Or Evasion, sorry, that's the one.
Yeah, or just
So I think,
with your gallow glasses, right? Because if that's, I think that's a really good game plan, having a unit that can charge something like that without taking a huge penalty.
yeah.
So
Okay.
basically give the first fatigue.
Oh, all right. Interesting. How do we feel about the Spanish? Are we more excited than at the beginning?
I think they have a in not very intuitive playstyle where they're more like a heavy charge. I put all of my stuff on one side of the battlefield and just keep on smashing face until you don't have any more units to pull over to my side because I'm mounted. I decide where we're fighting, not you. And I think that's a playstyle that can be super tough to play against. And so I think these guys are actually a somewhat of a thinker's warband, and somewhat of a I'm just going to smash face and win that way warband. So they're in a weird spot. And if I had to rate them, I'd probably give them a 2.8 out of 5.
Out of 5, what though?
Probably trying javelin men with no horses.
I don't know. I'm going to rate them a little bit differently. I think the playstyle just does not. I'm more positive about them now, and I can see kind of like the dangers a little bit better. But I must admit, this is probably one of the first boards where I'm not super inspired to go out and paint a warlord or something.
Yeah.
See what happens. So I am going to give them a 2 out of 5 tapas.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's purely just. I think they will. Like, I'm going to regret this because I know I'm going to go like 0-3 against like three Castilian players in like the next tournament I play or something. Still, I just like it just does not appeal to me. There's no like super big payoff ability. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan, but it's more of a subjective rating
it's fair enough
than our
it's
usual
fair enough, yeah.
than our usual super scientific ratings of things.
Yeah.
All right, then let's stay positive. I'm glad we did this one. It got me thinking. I hope people can find like something like a good play style for them. I'm looking for it. I don't actually know too much about how the hell they're supposed to look in terms of like heraldry and fluff and whatever. So I'm going to be interested to see what people can do there. I think there it's going to be. I literally have no idea. Modeling options. I think like does Fireforge have like? They seem to have like some pretty niche like.
I have no idea, honestly.
Like not Castilians. Like, are they like Almado? Anyways, just use Perry miniatures. That way we don't have to figure it out. But I'm sure if there are actually, what's it called? The that resin guy who does like all of the Spanish models.
Reconquer Designs.
That's the one. I think it might be too early. Anyway, never mind. We don't know. We didn't research this enough. But looking forward to people painting up their warbands and showing them. What are we doing next, Tim? Are we ready to commit?
Yeah, I'm happy to finally do the Burgundians, which I don't think we have done yet. Have we? I don't think we did.
We have not. And this also got like a weird. I must admit, the Burgundians have like a weird niche fandom who are really into Burgundians. So I will have to read up on them because people are going to be super pissed if we get them wrong.
Yeah, just keep on calling out Florian like that. Yeah. Super niche. Some weird people.
Weirdos. All right. We're being super positive today. No.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the end. We look forward to speaking to you soon. hopefully we have not completely lost our Burgundian listener group, all 5 of them. So
Yes. All right, thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.